So we wanted to take a second just to, hold on. We'll set, are you?
Some really good ones coming up.
The description, excuse me. Ooh.
Of a malevolent spirit.
It's malevolent.
Maleficent.
Maleficent spirit.
Maleficent spirit.
Seeing where people take it and how, I'm just gonna, you wanna read it? Or you wanna
I'm getting scared.
Openly gay, which I think is, I shouldn't, whatever. Hello again. Welcome back to another video. We are self-possessed.
I am David.
And I am Craig. Welcome back to our channel. Welcome back to the journey. If you don't know or if you're new here, welcome. We're excited. We hope that you have found us and are along for the ride. But we are a gay couple in the Midwest and we love all things books, reading books, rating books, looking at lists of books.
Which we have for you today.
Yes, strap in. Thank you for everyone who has subscribed to our channel and has been here. As you heard in our last video this month, all these videos are celebrating our 1 year anniversary on BookTube, which we're super stoked about and super excited to be here. So everything we're doing, we're kind of looking forward and celebrating the things that we love to read, the experiences that we've had on BookTube, and so we're excited just to kind of share some of that stuff with you. So we hope you're excited, because we are.
We are. There's some good books coming out.
Yes, there are. So if you didn't know, I mean, I think the world knows, but we divide the year into quarters, and typically, especially with book releases, people will do like Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and they'll group 3 months of releases into one quarter. And as we are getting closer to the end of June and the beginning of Q3, we decided that we wanted to look forward a little bit and see what books we were the most excited about that were coming out, and what books we predicted based on covers, descriptions, that could potentially be 5-star reads for us. So these are books that are coming out in July, August, and September, and books that we think, as we've read about them, have the potential to be 5-star reads for us. You know, we don't typically do stars, so really it's like A+ reads or A reads for us. So books that will fall into our kind of top tier. So we're excited about that. So what we've done is I've broken them up into each month. So we'll do each month, we'll section out the video by month. So we'll start with July, then we'll move to August, then we'll move to September. And I've created some graphics that I'll throw up that'll show you the book covers and their release dates, so that you are aware if you want to jot any of those down. Also in the description box below, there's a Q3 5-star predictions list on Goodreads, which I will link down below as well, if you'd like to kind of follow that and see where those books are and get more information on them.
No, Craig sent me a list and I was looking through them and I was like, these are gonna be good. Some authors that we've read before, like the new Ashley Winstead, looks really, really good.
Yeah.
Too. So.
There's also a lot on here that by authors that we've never heard of or read before. I'll be kind of transparent. I did most of the research and then shared them with David. So a lot of these are books that I was inherently excited about, and some that I thought he would be excited about as well. So there's a mixture of both in the list. And when I say research, I mean, I went down descriptions from publishers and I looked at the Goodreads and the Storygraph pages for the books, and I kind of combined the descriptions based on that. The release dates could be changing too. Some of them were a little bit weird, and so I put what was the most common release date for most of the books on the graphics as well. So those could change as well, so just be mindful of that as we go through them.
All right.
Yeah. So should we start with July? coming up very soon. July. The first book on our 5-star prediction list for July is called The Work Wife by Allison B. Hart. It is about a personal assistant to a Hollywood couple, and she basically gets the opportunity for a new position, and one that she's been chasing for a while that could be hers. But there's a lot of people who are potentially getting in the way of that. And then something big happens, a truth is revealed, and she realizes how entangled she is in this couple's life that she's been working for. And then she kind of has to decide, is this really something that I want? For me, this book doesn't really fit in any of our typical genres that we like. It's more literary fiction, I think, than anything else. Yeah. But it had a little bit of a thriller edge, and when I found it on Goodreads, it was actually like in the thriller list, but it doesn't sound like a thriller, but it has some kind of those elements to it too.
Also, and we have a queer lead character, right?
Yes. Yeah. A lot of, actually, when I was like, every time I pulled a book up, there was a lot of LGBT classifications on a lot of these books, which is a good thing, and I'm really happy about that as well. The last tagline, which I thought was really interesting, was a novel about female ambition, complicity, privilege, and what happens when the brightest stars aren't allowed to shine. So that was really I was really excited by that one. So that is The Work Wife by Allison B. Hart. I'll throw up the cover too, so you can see it. The cover is beautiful, very summery, very beachy. Yeah, yeah. The next one.
The next one is called Come Home by Sarah Gailey. It has a release date of 7/19/22. We find our main character, Vera. She is coming back home to the home of a serial killer. Okay.
That was enough for me. You didn't need to say much else other than that. But
during this, she's also taking care of her mother. And not only that, they're not alone. They have some artist who is living in the guest house who is starting to kind of go through their things and bringing up stuff from the past, slowly stripping Vera's childhood for spare parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it ends with, there are secrets yet undiscovered in the foundations of the notorious Crowder House. Is that a song? It's a band.
Crowded House.
Crowded
House, not Crowder House.
Yeah. Vera must face them and find out for herself just how deep the rot goes. This was one that kind of really spoke to me. So yeah. I'm like, this is really in my lane. Yeah, look at that.
Look at that cover. Yeah. Pink background, red house, dripping in blood.
In white font.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of can't go wrong, really. I thought this one was really interesting, not only because it does have that like idea of, returning to who you are, but then also like someone tearing apart your life and like selling it off and basically trying to make profit off of it.
This is, Craig did all the work, but I think when I was looking for new books, my list kind of stopped at June. So I'm glad that there's kind of a variety of great books that are coming out in July, because I thought we were just going to get the Riley Sager book and that was going to be it. That was going to be the last of my happiness for the summer. But now these new ones are popping up, which are really, really, and the next few that are coming up are really, really, look really, really enjoyable.
Yeah. So that's Come Home by Sarah Gailey. The next one is Mary, An Awakening of Terror. I tried to space out what we looked for. I tried to find things that were not just horror, not just thriller. There's a lot of those, so I'll tell you that. Because what I think that we will like is going to be more in those genres than anything else. But there's some other stuff as well, obviously, with The Work Wife. So
I'm gonna say out of all of them, this is the one that I'm looking forward to, probably the most.
Yeah. So Mary, An Awakening of Terror by Nat Cassidy comes out on July 19th. It is about a middle-aged woman named Mary who is, as the description says, unremarkable, invisible, and unknown to even herself. But something starts changing within her. So not only is she clearly going through something with menopause, but there starts to be voices that develop in her head that kind of are asking her to do really terrible, terrible things. And then she starts to realize that the voices that she's hearing are the voices of a serial killer. And then murders start happening. So yeah, it's about her kind of figuring out who she is, but also what is going on in her head. And I'll throw up the cover here. The cover is great. The cover looks different than what the description says. Like the cover, yeah, it looks very interesting.
It's a very R&R, Mary needs a break.
Yes. Mary is to the point in her life where she just needs some time to herself.
Having a spa day.
Mm-hmm. I thought this one looked really interesting. This is also, I think this is a Tor Nightfire book as well. So that always says to me, okay, I'm probably gonna like this book because I like what they release. So yeah, I'm excited for that one as well. The next one, which also comes out on July 19th, is called The Pink Hotel by Liska Jacobs.
Yeah. Newlyweds Keith and Kit Collins are going to, well, Keith is going to take over the general manager job. Wait, no. Sorry. Yeah, let me go back. Okay, so the Pink Hotel finds newlyweds Keith and Kit Collins. Keith is coming to the Pink Hotel to apply for a job. It's a very luxurious hotel. We're kind of like the creme de la creme come and stay. But soon after their arrival, wildfire kind of sweeps through LA, and it starts to become what is described as a pressure cooker. So Keith and Kit find themselves confined with an anxious, disgruntled staff and a growing roster of eccentric, ultra-wealthy, dangerously idle guests. Satire, right?
Yeah. The quote from the description was a blistering, dark social satire that exposes a tenuous class system. What I thought was most interesting about this is because we love The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And the Pink Hotel, if you look at I'll put up the cover, but the font of the Pink Hotel looks like the font of the Beverly Hilton Hotel. If you can see that, it kind of has that kind of vibe to it. Mm-hmm. I also was listening to a podcast when they were talking about the Cannes Film Festival, and the movie that won the Palme d'Or was called Triangle of Sadness, which is also supposed to be this like blistering social satire of class on a cruise ship. And so when I saw this one, I was like, well, the cover was the first thing that kind of drew me in. And then when I saw the description, I was like, that sounds actually really, really interesting.
You see the smoke.
Yeah, in the background. I didn't notice that until just now, but yes, yeah. So that is The Pink Hotel by Liska Jacobs, and that comes out on July 19th. And that one is one I think that we will also both really, really love. Really good. The next one is by an author that I've never read before, but I've heard many people talk about, and that is Ronald Malfi's Black Mouth. The description of this actually likened it to It by Stephen King, because it's about a group of kids who experienced some trauma and something in their past, and they are reuniting, and some things start to kind of come out. There's a series of events that it kind of reunites them. One of the character's brothers is disabled. Yeah, he's coming back to this group. And they have memories of a summer that happened a long time ago, and that a strange man taught them magic or something during that summer. And they have to kind of confront what happened in their past. So the cover looks very dark and very scary. I know his last book was classified as horror, but many people thought it was not. So I'll kind of be curious what this looks like. So a lot of these books coming out on July 19th. So we have a lot coming out on that one day that we are looking forward to, at least. So
yeah.
The next one I'll talk about because you did not read The Family Upstairs.
No.
So
is this a sequel?
Yes. On July 21st, The Family Remains by Lisa Jewell comes out, which is a sequel to The Family Upstairs. People have said that it can stand alone on its own, but that it is kind of a sequel to that book, which I really liked that book a lot. So I was really super stoked that the sequel was coming out. But in the book, which is a few years old, so I don't think this is a spoiler. Someone dies in that book. Well, a lot of people die in that book, but one of the characters kills someone in that book and leaves him for dead in his house. This book is about that person who has died and their wife who finds them, and kind of them trying to figure out what happened to their husband. and that leads them back to London with one of the main characters from The Family Upstairs. So I'm excited to read it. I really did like The Family Upstairs quite a bit, so the only thing that makes me a little bit nervous is that there's both a talk of a police officer and also the character in that book that was murdered was not a good person. So if I'm meant to feel bad for him, that's the one thing that kind of gives me trepidation, but I still think it'll be a 5-star read. So I'm super excited by that one as well. So this next one I am excited for. I don't know that he will be as excited for, but maybe. It doesn't really fit in the horror thriller genre at all. It's more of a...
I just figured what that picture was. I thought it was like sewage coming out of a pipe.
Oh no, it's hair.
Oh. It's like a hair drain.
This is The Book of Gothel by Mary McMine, which is a dark retelling or a reimagining or a origin story of some sort of the Rapunzel story. So the first tagline of the description is, everyone knows the tale of Rapunzel in her tower, but do you know the story of the witch who put her there? So if you're familiar with Tangled, the witch in Tangled, her name is Mother Gothel, which is where some of that comes from, I think. But it's about a woman who is shunned by her medieval village, and her only solace lies in the stories her mother tells her of a child-stealing witch, of princes in wolf skins, and an ancient tower cloaked in mist. And then this young woman is left after her mother dies, and she sets out to find the tower that her mother talked about in a place called Gothel. And then there is secret spells that are unlocked, murderous people, and a new world is kind of explored. So I was kind of excited by this one. I don't know what it was. Like when I read about it, it's not, it's not something that I normally would pick up, but
no. Okay, the next one is Old Country by Matt and Harrison Query. It's the house of their dream. So they're basically moving into a haunted house, Harry and his wife Sasha. They want to live off the land and rule Idaho. Who doesn't, actually?
I don't.
So they're kind of rebuilding their home or building their home, and then they are warned, malevolent, spirit that lives in the valley. One that with every season will haunt them in fresh, ever more diabolical ways. Okay, so it's a story about a marriage. How do you survive a marriage?
Yeah.
Basically. So it's a how-to book, basically. That's interesting.
Well, and supposedly, when I was looking this up too, apparently it's inspired by a story that was on Reddit, which I was not familiar with. So I will be curious to look that up beforehand. But it initially sounded like a haunted house story, but then it sounds like there's spirits and things that are around them that are instead causing the problems, not so much the house. But
I mean, if your neighbors come by and say, hey, your house is haunted, you should probably rethink this. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to live in a haunted house?
No.
No. Yeah. Those are our July 5-star predictions. 8 books total. So I hope you're strapped in because we have 2 months left. Okay, so check out those. The release dates are up there on the screen. And I'll post the descriptions and the release dates and the authors and all that stuff in the description box below as well. So. All right, moving on. Let's go to August, shall we? I am excited for a bunch of these, actually. Some of them scare me, and some of them are super exciting. So, the first one in August is The Rule of Three by E.G. Scott. This is about 3 couples and a game night that goes terribly wrong. So the women are getting together for a book club. The men are having like a poker night. And then at the end of that night, 3 of the men end up either dead or hospitalized. And then the community is trying to figure out what happens. The best line of this is powerful women, vengeful men, secrets, neighbors, blackmail, business gone wrong, and the most intimate of desires spilling into full view.
That's why we don't talk to our neighbors.
Yeah, we are isolated from them. So, but I thought it sounded really interesting. Like you've got 3 perspectives here. You got secrets that are being released and let out. Like there's just a lot going on, and I thought it sounded really interesting in that one as well.
It was like book clubs gone wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy that.
The cover is also really good as well. I think the cover is really interesting. You know, a house ripped into 3 shreds, basically.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. The next one is one that scares the crap out of me, but I'm excited to read it. It is about home invasion, which is probably one of the scariest things that I can think of.
It's called Anybody Home, by Michael J. Seidlinger, and that is released on August 16th, 2022. So a seasoned invader with multiple home invasions under their belt recounts their dark victories, while also teaching a new generation of ambitious home invaders eager to make their mark on the annals of criminal history. No, thank you. No, thank you. The fear is inescapable. Anybody Home points to the camera lens onto the quiet suburbs and its unsuspecting abodes, any of which are potential stages for an invader ambitious enough to make it the scene of the next crime sensation. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Well, and the thing that I think was most interesting is not only is it like teaching people how to do this, but also it's about what fame could come from that, if that's something that, you know, yeah.
I don't mess around with home invasion stuff. Like anybody that like people living in the wall, no.
But the cover looked really interesting and scary, and then when I read it, I was like, okay,
Yeah,
maybe I need to confront my fear of home invasion a little bit.
I like a lot of dark shit, but that I don't mess around with that stuff because there's certain things I don't want living in here.
Okay, so the next one is the one that David talked about at the beginning, which is Ashley Winstead's new book, The Last Housewife, which was released on August 16th. Again, a lot of these are also on August 16th as well. So it's about 2 friends who are basically in a cult when they're in college, and then they finally escape. One of them dies, and then the other one must kind of investigate what happened, and they use a true crime podcaster to help them with the investigation. But then she kind of she gets too sucked in, basically, and has to kind of get herself out of that. But also has to deal with her own complicity in what might have happened. So
yeah, I was kind of harsh with My Dreams That Hold a Knife, but I think with this one, I like cult books. So I think this one will it'll be good for me. I think I will enjoy this. I like cults more than I like home invaders. So.
Yeah. This one sounds interesting. There's people who we knew who have already read it because they got art copies of it and they seem really excited by it. So I liked In My Dreams That Hold a Knife. I want to read, Ashley Winstead also released a romance book this spring called Fool Me Once, which sounds interesting enough. So I might want to read that one as well. But the next one is Runtime by Catherine Ryan Howard, who I believe wrote 56 Days. And this is about a film project.
This is called Runtime, also released on the 16th of August. The project, final draft, a psychological horror. Promising young thing Stephen Dade will direct. The tagline, based on a terrifying true story that hasn't happened yet.
It's weird.
The location, a cottage deep in the forest, miles from anywhere in the wintry wilds of West Cork. Ugh. The lead, former soap star Adele Rafferty, has stepped in to replace the original actress at the very last minute. She can't help but hope that this will be her big break. The problem, something isn't quite right on the set of Final Draft. Adele is about to discover that the real horror lies off the page. Okay, not so good. I thought it was going to freak me out. I don't like things that are like based on true stories and stuff like that. That's when I got freaked out. But I think that seems a little...
Well, we love horror films. We love movies. So, like, the fact that this is about essentially a horror film being made, and then there's some things that go on off camera or off script, sounded really interesting to me.
I think once I hit former soap star, I was like, oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Can we?
Yeah, so that was Runtime by Catherine Ryan Howard, which I think actually sounds really interesting and kind of hit, some of the things that we both like. So... the next one is one in August that I am the most excited about, and the one that I thought he would be the most excited about, and that is Reluctant Immortals by Gwendolyn Kist, which is essentially a modernization of Dracula in a way, but focuses on the characters of Bertha and Lucy. But they are now undead immortals living in LA in 1967. Okay. And then Dracula and Mr. Rochester make a return to the Haight-Ashbury district of San Francisco. So it's like all of that comes back, but it's set in the 60s in LA and California. And yeah.
Interesting.
But it says it combines elements of historical and gothic fiction with a modern perspective. A tale of love, betrayal, and coercion. It's a lyrical and harrowing journey of two women from the classic literature as they bravely claim their own destiny in a man's world.
I don't remember Bertha.
I don't either. Lucy is obviously a very, well-known character from Dracula, but I don't remember the other character.
Reread Dracula again.
Yeah. But did you look at that? Did you look at that cover? Cover is great.
We're gonna have to take some gummy bears when we read them.
It looks like, it reminds me of the Love Witch.
Yeah.
My next one is a little bit of a stretch because, as you know on this channel, I don't love Josh Malerman, and I haven't loved Josh Malerman in the things that I have read. So it was a stretch for me to put this on here. But when I read the description, I was like, okay, that one could be a 5-star for me. Maybe. I originally thought it was a YA book when I looked at it, but the more I read about it, I don't think that it is. It's just about like a basketball team, a high school basketball team, in their last summer before college. And they hear this story about a ghost named Daphne. The book is called Daphne. It comes out on August 23rd. This ghost died under mysterious circumstances. And they say that she's still out there and obsessed and will kill anytime someone thinks about her. But then the teammates start to vanish, and this main character thinks that the stories are real.
Is this my life story?
The last part of the description is what kind of hit me. Mixing a nostalgic coming-of-age story and an instantly iconic female villain with an innovative new vision of classic horror.
Okay.
So, and then I saw the cover, and the cover had very vintagey vibes, which I liked a lot. The next one, which comes out on August 30th, is Maureen Kilmer's Suburban Hell. It was said to be Bad Moms meets My Best Friend's Exorcism, which...
A light horror comedy about a group of women in the Chicago burbs, hello Chicago, whose cul-de-sac gets a new neighbor, a demon. By Maureen Kilmer. Suburban Hell. Wow. The
cover is great. It basically is like a demonic force moves into the neighborhood, and then this group of women have to kind of deal with it. Amy, Jess, and Melissa must fight back against the evil spirit to save Liz and the neighborhood before the suburbs go completely to hell. But at least they don't have to deal with the PTA.
Who does?
Yeah.
Who does?
I always like a horror comedy, and it has that kind of it feels like it has a bit of a Grady Hendrix kind of style to it.
Yeah, because we missed him this summer.
Yeah, we won't get him until January. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That sounds good.
I do it.
Cover is great. I think that would be a 5-star for me as well. So, and then the last one for August is not a horror or a thriller. It is called Other Birds by Sarah Addison Allen. It takes place in South Carolina off the coast, in an old cobblestone building that's named after a tiny turquoise bird. There's an air of magical secrecy on this island. And then a woman named Zoe comes back to the island, and she meets quirky, secretive neighbors, a girl on the run, 2 estranged middle-aged sisters, a lonely chef, a legendary writer, and 3 ghosts. Each with their own story, their own longings, and each whose ending isn't written yet. I thought that sounded really kind of fun, magical, romantic,
All right, you tell me how that is.
So those are all of our August reads. Looking at those, David, looking at all of those 8 books, which of those are you the most excited for?
The Last Housewife, Reluctant Immortals, and Suburban Hell.
Yeah. I figured those would be the ones that you'd be the most
Daphne,
into.
maybe. I want to see what he's like, what his other books are like first. I would want to read his stuff first.
Yeah. I'm weirdly excited for Anybody Home. I don't know why. I think I just want to try it. I am like that. Genuinely, home invasions are the things that scare me the most. So,
no.
Who knows?
No.
Anyway, so that's month 2 of quarter 3, and our last month is September. Some of these are going to be more for me, I think, than David, but we'll see what he's kind of excited by. So,
not this one. Well, maybe.
No, this one. I literally put this first one on there because I thought he would be the most excited for this one.
Oh.
And I was too, because it's a Greek retelling. So
okay, I just saw that. I was like, who wants to?
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like, I don't know.
Yeah. This is Ithaca by Claire North, which comes out on September 6th. And it is about the woman Penelope who was married to Odysseus, and what happens when Odysseus leaves. And there's an empty throne, and there's suitors, Cold War of dubious alliances, hidden knives. Everyone waits for the balance of power to tip in one way or the other, and it's about who she's going to choose. And it says, on Ithaca, everyone watches everyone else, and there is no corner of the palace where intrigue does not reign.
I saw Ithaca and I was like, is this about a college?
No.
About the college?
No.
Is it a college thriller?
No. I also really, really liked the cover as well. I thought the cover was really pretty and interesting.
I don't remember the cover.
But it's like she's like pulling strings and like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The next one is a YA book, which I found a lot of YA when I was going through these lists, and we don't typically read a lot of YA, but I put this one on because it actually sounded really interesting and kind of fun. So it's called Funeral Girl, and it's by Emma K. Oland. It comes out on September 6th as well. It is about a 16-year-old Georgia Richter who feels conflicted about the funeral home that her parents own because she has the ability to summon ghosts whenever she touches the bodies, basically. So she's having to kind of deal with that, what happens when that happens, But then one of her classmates dies and arrives at the funeral home, and then she has to kind of help him figure out what happened to him.
Is this My Girl?
That's kind of what it sounds like, right? Yeah. Doesn't that sound kind of interesting, though?
No, it sounds like Veda Sultanfuss.
Well, you'd love Veda Sultanfuss.
I do.
So.
I do.
Yeah. The last is forcing Georgia to reckon with her relationship to grief and mortality, which I think is actually really interesting. So it sounded kind of cool. The next one is very strange and has a very strange title, and I understand that completely, but I also think it sounds really interesting.
Lucky Girl, How I Became a Horror Writer, A Krampus Story by Mary Rickert. Comes out on the 13th of September.
Just in time for the holiday season.
So Ro, a struggling writer, knows all too well the pain and solitude that holiday festivities can awaken. She meets 4 people at the local diner, all of them strangers, and as lonely as Ro is. So she invites them to a Christmas dinner. And when that party seems in danger of an early end, she suggests that they each tell a ghost story. One that is seasonally appropriate. Okay. Interesting. Huh.
My favorite line of the description was, Ro will come to learn that there are horrors hidden in a Christmas tale. I do love, we love the Krampus movie, which is great. And then the Krampus story is really interesting. And the guy that wrote Slewfoot actually has a Krampus book as well, which we might read for Christmas this year. But I thought it was really interesting. It's like there's 4 disparate stories kind of all coming together, but also about, what it's like to be a writer and tell stories. Yeah.
All right.
I think it'll be good. It'll be a 5-star for me at least. So what we're discovering throughout this video is that these are apparently much more for me than they are for David. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to go on the dark web.
The next one I think you'll like, though.
Okay, well, you had me at Medusa.
Yeah.
Okay, so Stone Blind by Natalie Haynes. Medusa is the only mortal in a family of gods. She quickly realizes that she is the only one who gets older. Oh no. When desire pushes a god to commit the unforgivable, Medusa's mortal life is changed forever. I was just talking about Medusa, was I? Wasn't I? Okay. Probably one of my favorites.
It's essentially like kind of the backstory about Medusa, because I think it all goes back to before the Perseus is embarking to get her head. Okay. So I think it's about her kind of life before that a little bit, and why she was cursed. And
I love.
Natalie Haynes wrote Pandora's Jar, A Thousand Ships, and another one. So she's done this before and done it very well. So I thought this would actually be really interesting.
Okay.
And
that's the one I want to read.
Yeah. All right, our last four for September. So this next one is Fraternity by Annie Mintis, who is an actor, Broadway actor, was on the TV show Smash, has been some other things. But Fraternity comes out on the 20th of September. It takes place in the fall of 1991. This is also a YA book, which was another surprise, but I like him a lot, and the story sounded really interesting. So a young man transfers to this school called Blackfriars, which is a school for boys, and learns that he isn't the only student that's hiding a secret. He has fallen into a group of boys who all kind of share the same thing, and a group where they can only express openly together for the safety of their, themselves, in something called, it's called the Vicious Circle. It's a covert club for gay students that goes back decades. But when the boys unwittingly happen upon the headmaster's copy of an arcane occult text, they unleash an eldritch secret so terrible it threatens to consume them all. It's a queer paranormal story set during the still raging AIDS crisis. Has this kind of horror element to it as well, which I thought sounded actually really interesting. Yeah. So,
who did he play in Smashed?
He Smashed.
Was it Smashed?
Smash.
It's not Smashed.
No, it's Smash.
Smash.
Yeah. Also, I thought the cover was...
I've been calling it Smashed.
I thought the cover was kind of interesting, too.
Yeah, I like that.
Cool. Yeah. The next one I think David will actually like quite a bit. And I'm going to let him read it so he can be surprised. But this is called A Merry Little Meet Cute by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone, which is a romance book.
Okay, B. Hobbs, a.k.a. Bianca Von Honey, love it, has a successful career as a plus-size adult film star. Period. Her favorite producer casts her in a Christmas movie he's making for the squeaky clean Hope channel. Boom. Her career is about to take a more family-friendly direction. Forced to keep her work as Bianca under wraps, Bea quickly learns this is a task a lot easier said than done. She discovers her co-star is none other than childhood crush Nolan Shaw, an ex-boy band member in desperate need of career rehab. Yes, things heat up quickly in Christmas Notch, Vermont. And if Bea and Nolan can't keep their off-camera romance behind the scenes, then this Merry Little Meet Cute might end up on the cutting room floor.
I thought that sounded adorable. Like, we love Hallmark Christmas movies. I just think it sounded... Julie Murphy is known for writing, like, really good plus-size female characters in romances, which I've never read.
Let's pre-order it.
Yeah.
Pre-order it today.
So that comes out September 20th, and it is a Christmas-themed romance. I thought the cover was adorable as well. Yeah.
That's going to be on my favorite of. Watch.
So you would call that a 5-star prediction for you then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. I don't even really like romances too much, but...
The next one, the last two, the next one is called Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young, and comes out on September 27th. It takes place in a rural community that's steeped in mystical superstitions, and things get upended when a suspected killer returns to this community. And it's essentially a young woman and a young man. He was convicted or accused of killing her best friend, and then he returns back to this island, and they have to kind of come back together to establish what happened and figure out what was going on. The last line is evocative and compelling. Spells for Forgetting is a vivid exploration of lost love and the unraveling of a small town and its many secrets.
Okay.
I love small coastal communities, lots of secrets, a murder. I was like, this is a perfect fall read, first of all, right? The cover is beautiful. I'll throw the cover up as well. I thought for me specifically, this was going to be like a really, really great book. I thought I'd really like it a lot.
All right.
And it's classified as a thriller, which, yeah.
The Shores of Saoirse Island. Saoirse Ronan Island.
Saoirse Ronan Island, yes. And then our last book is called The Vicious Circle by Catherine St. John. And I think this will be, weirdly, I'm surprised it's not coming out in the summertime, but it comes out on September 27th as well. And there is a villa called Xanadu. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, in. What? It's about a wellness center called Xanadu that's deep in the Mexican jungle, and it's about a spiritual group that's kind of devoted to this like self-help guru and his wife, and then he suddenly dies, and then but his entire estate is left to a former model living in New York City, and not his wife. So then she has to come and figure out what's going on. And there are sinister forces around her, and she realizes too late that she cannot escape this island and this estate. She's frantic and terrified, and she discovers that her only hope for survival is to put her confidence in the very person that she trusts the least.
What?
Doesn't that sound good?
Xanadu?
Yeah, it's called Xanadu. Has a nice like crystal on the cover and some jungle. I thought it sounded great. I think it'll be good. I'm excited for that one. Okay, so of all of those for September, which one are you most excited about?
Gosh. Stone Blind, #1, Fraternity, and A Merry Little Meet Cute.
Yeah.
Those 3 I'm looking forward to.
I'm excited for Lucky Girl, Fraternity, and A Merry Little Meet Cute as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Villa's Xanadu. That's what you should have called
The
it.
Villa Xanadu. Yeah. So as a review, real quick, I'm just going to toss up the full graphics for each month again so you can see them. So for July, David.
Yes.
Which one are you the most excited to read of those 8?
Okay, Just Like Home, Mary, and The Pink Hotel.
Yeah.
Those were the 3.
Okay.
Work Wife, maybe.
Maybe.
Let's see.
I think for me, for July, it's The Pink Hotel is #1, first of all. I think that's the one I'm the most excited for. I'm also excited for Mary and Just Like Home, and Old Country as well. I like those kind of haunted stories. And this is weird, but like I guess I picked most of these. So the Book of Gothel actually also sounds really interesting as well. So,
okay.
Yeah. So that's July. Pause the video, screenshot it if you want to get release dates. We'll also put these up on our Instagram as well, so you can kind of see these as well. So, okay, so for August, of those, which ones are you the most excited for?
Okay. The Last Housewife, Reluctant, Immortals, and Suburban Hell.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Daphne.
Okay. Mine is definitely Runtime, Suburban Hell, and Reluctant Immortals. Those are my ones that I'm the most excited for. I'm excited for all of those. I want to read all of them, but
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And then in September.
Okay. Stone Blind, Fraternity, A Merry Little Meet Cute, and Ithaca. I would read Ithaca and Stone Blind together.
Yeah. And that'll be a good choice too.
Yeah.
And you heard me say Lucky Girl, Fraternity, Merry Little Meet Cute. Those are mine. So.
Yes, but A Merry Little Meet Cute's probably my most anticipated right now. As of right now.
And he didn't even know before we filmed the video that was coming out.
That's the one that I want more than anything in the world.
So what do you think? What do you think of our 5-star predictions for Q3? It's a lot of books. I understand that. It's 32 books. And I know inherently that not all of those are going to be 5 stars. Like, there's no way.
And if we left any out that you know of, please,
let us
leave them down in the comment section so we can put those on the list.
Yeah. And there's a lot of books coming out. Like there's going to be books that are even announced for Q3 in the next few weeks that we probably missed. So we'll be curious what those look like as well. And so again, as I said at the beginning, some of these release dates could absolutely change. So just be mindful of that if you're writing dates down. If you go to our Goodreads, the link below, it is on there. There are a bunch of books on there that are not on this list. I just added a bunch of stuff. So I just culled from that list and made this list. So these are our 5-star predictions for Q3. I'll be curious to see if any of these...
Hands are cold.
I knew that. I'll be curious to see if any of these end up on our TBRs for July. And maybe we'll do a whole vlog reading the books that we were most excited about for July and see how we actually feel about them, if they actually are 5-star reads. So come back in for that. So yeah. Well, happy June. Happy Pride Month. Thank you for coming back again. We hope that you enjoyed this video. Like the video if you haven't. Comment down below what you thought of our picks. What did you think of these books? Are you excited for them? And then share the video with someone if you haven't yet. Check us out on Instagram and you can see these images.
At @shelf_possessed.
I am Craig.
I am Sandra Brown's biggest fan.
David. And we are Self-Possessed. Thank you for coming back, and we will see you in the next one.